Congratulations, Blake.
Hey,
Yes,
thank you.
love the movie Billy Boy, opening in Los Angeles and VOD June 15th.
Yes.
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 So, correct me if I'm wrong, this is your feature screenwriting debut?
It is. It is. I've written other things in the past, and I also have something that I just finished writing with a friend of mine who's also in Billy Boy, and that's a comedy. So I'm looking forward to trying getting that on its feet. But this is the first thing that I've ever written and seen it come to life. So it's pretty wild. And we've been working on this movie for a while, so it's crazy that we're kind of having this coming out party, and we're gonna get to see how it resonates with people.
No, so how did you get bit by the screenwriting bug?
Um, well, obviously, I've always loved movies. I've always loved acting, but when I was in fourth grade, our teachers would give us free topics in the morning to just like write in our journals, and some kids would write like, "Oh, me and my mom did this," or "I had a picnic," or "My bike is red," and I would write like short stories and plays, and they would ask the class who wanted to jump up and read their stories in front of the class, and I'd raise my hand, and I was all about that, and I'd make people laugh, and I think that was my hook of connecting with someone with something that I'd created in a small way, but it meant a lot to me. So that's kind of like where I got bit by the bug.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, why this particular story?
Well, I've always loved movies like this. I grew up watching like movies like This Boy's Life and Basketball Diaries and stuff like that. There's always been something really profound to me about a young person that just discovered this potential that he's got and this intelligence, and then is in fear of losing it all. And when he's trying to better himself, and his demons are kind of holding him back. He's kind of like having a boxing match with himself and his heart and his mind. And I've always loved those have always spoken to me in a different way, with each film. But that's why I wanted to do this, and I wanted to do something different. This was at a time where I was on Glee, playing a different character than my character in this movie, and I was itching to do something a little different, and yeah, I'm just excited to kind of dive into like a darker kind of storyline with the character.
Did you ever consider directing it too, or was Bradley already was on?
No, when I was writing this movie, I actually told this to Brad at our after party last night. But I was like, he was. I remember I wrote like my first 9 pages, and I sent that to a couple people, and kind of got some thoughts, and they said they liked it and they wanted me to keep going. So as I kept writing it, I always had Brad Beaker in mind, and I'd worked with him on Glee, and a lot of my heavy stuff for my character was with him. And all of his stuff has always looked so beautiful, and I've always been so impressed with the way that he edits while he directs, and how it all bleeds into itself. And I just think he's such a wonderful artist. So
Indeed.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No worries, sir.
There you go.
Now, the scene that stayed with me long after the movie's done was that scene when your character, passionately screams at your character's mom in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So my question is, what was some of your conversation? I'm sorry, the name escapes me, the actress' name. What was
Brenda Baki.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What was your conversation with her to get into that emotional headspace for that scene? And was it hard to shake it off afterwards?
Yeah. That was our first day of shooting. That was the first thing that I shot for this movie, and that was wild. I mean, we just kind of like came in with a bang, starting it off, and I think it was a wonderful way to dive in. I got to really know the character, and I feel like Brenda got to know her character a lot with that being the first day, because we started off at 10. Okay, now the hard work is like getting to the comfortable place and like the private moments and stuff. But we already got all that out of the way. But that was a heavy day, and I think I went home that night, and I couldn't shake it off. I was really distraught from going so heavy into that scene. It really like hurt me emotionally to take it there.
Wow.
It was a sad scene to do. It's a sad scene in the movie. So
it really showed, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Now, I've interviewed Aramis and Grant Harvey on separate occasions.
Great people. Cool.
Yeah, great guys.
Nice.
So talk a bit about rounding up this wonderful group of actors. Huh?
Oh, did you interviewed them for this, or just at different times?
Separate occasions, yeah.
Cool.
Great guys.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're awesome.
So talk a bit about rounding up these group of actors, because when you and Bradley trying to cast these people, did you have in mind like, okay, this is the neighborhood that we want to fit these people in. Like, so we got to find these kind of characters.
Absolutely, yeah. And we spent a lot of time casting this, and I was in there. There's like physical scenes in the movie that I was doing in auditions with other people, and I was letting them kind of choke me out and and wrestle with me and stuff. We were just like kind of trying to treat the whole thing, from start to finish as authentic as we could, so we knew that we found the right people. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, we included in the audition process, especially for Mikey, when Grant was auditioning, everybody who auditioned had like a private moment to like kind of talk about what it's like being this character and being this guy. And I think we went about it the right way. But Aramis is so good. I mean, he's so great in the movie. He's there for a little while, but he makes such an impression. And there's like this nuance about what he does, and I thought he was wonderful. And Grant, I mean, there were times where there's a scene that we're connecting and we get emotional, and my character's not really saying anything. And I think that just goes to show how wonderful of an actor he is, because he's so inviting just with his eyes, and he cares about it so much. So he just like kind of draws you in as a performer.
Nice.
Yeah.
This movie, this may be the question for Bradley, but I'll ask you anyway. What I love about it, it's style of filmmaking, kind of like just point the camera and let it shoot and let it what happened may. Kind of like a documentary, pseudo documentary, kind of like a really cinema verite, very surreal. Was that always the intention for the style of the storytelling approach for this film?
No, actually, I wrote this linearly.
Okay.
And then as we were piecing it together, I know that we all kind of felt like something was missing, and Brad took it upon himself to like kind of dissect it a bit, and that's when he kind of matched. The tone of the movie is that you're with this kid who's an angry teenager and his mind's racing a mile a minute. So we were like, well, then why don't we just like get the audience on the same exact wavelength as they're being told this story? So that's when that was figured out. That was given birth to that kind of formula that the movie takes hold of.
Yeah, the backwards parts. That was amazing.
Yeah, and that's all Brad. That's all Brad, and everything means something. And I've seen cut after cut after cut of it, and I think this one is way more in line with the type of story we wanted to tell, and the type of characters that we wanted to show people, and their wounds and their souls and all that stuff. I think this is it gets the point across, and you get to know everybody at different speeds, but it's for a reason. You get to know people after they once they've just become memories, you're getting to know them, that they're the heart of the movie, and with certain people, like Nathaniel Stroud's character, he plays Josh, and he's like such an integral part of it. So I think it the characters complement the formula and vice versa as well.
Nice. As I'm winding down to my final questions, this story, a lot of places, a lot of neighborhoods, urban neighborhoods, a lot of kids, teenagers out there can relate to the story, to the characters in this film, because of the struggles that they have that might mirror, the characters in this movie. What do you hope the audience will take away from the themes of Billy Boy?
Well, one thing that we always talked about was, being a product of your environment, and that's definitely a theme in this. I think it touches on toxic masculinity, which I think could, have some light shed upon it, and also, one main thing for me was that Billy's in his head a lot of the movie, and that's how I felt growing up, and it wasn't a fun place to live in for too long, So I also hope that another message that gets taken away is for parents to kind of keep an eye out and have make sure that there is a very trusting line of communication with your kids, because I feel like your imagination can just run wild with you, and then you'll wonder where time went. So it's important for, I feel like, families to live in the now and connect, and I think that's a big message in this movie too.
Last question.
Yeah.
What's your next writing gig, and what moves you as a writer? What adaptation? Something of your own again? Maybe next one?
Yeah, no, I think I'll always be writing things. I mean, never say never, but I think at this point in my life, I'm more inclined to write things that I kind of like come up with or like have an idea for, and then you'll just start writing from there. But the next thing, I don't want to say too much about it, but it's a comedy that I wrote with my friend Nathaniel Stroud, who's Josh in this movie. I keep referencing him, but it's so funny, and it's in line with every comedy that I like, and why I loved doing improv and comedy in the first place when I was growing up in Miami. So I'm real excited to see that come to life.
Blake, congratulations.
Thank you so much, man.